invite Dr. Geraldine Duran. She is the Knowledge Transfer Manager, Global Alliance at Innovate UK. She has played key role in supporting international innovation and facilitating research and innovation collaboration with the key economy around the world. Geraldine received master's degree in technology from the Technology University of Campaign, France, and a PhD from the University of Kent. She then started her career in development chemist in Dow Corning, now Dow, and moved to TWI as a senior project leader and later section manager. In 2016, she became a director at ARCTIC between London South Bank University and TWI. So welcome, Geraldine. Please.
Thank you very much. Are you happy to share my slides?
Yes, Nay, please.
I still cannot see my slide. Are you sharing my slide, or do you want me to share my slide?
Okay, yeah.
Is my screen visible? I'm already sharing it.
Can you play it, Nay, because it's in the presentation mode? Can you just play it?
Is it now visible?
I can see it. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Vimal. My name is Geraldine Duran. I'm the program lead for the UK-India Advanced Manufacturing Initiative in Innovate UK KTN. And next slide, please. I'm here today to introduce you this program. And next slide, please.
Next slide is not moving.
I'm already moving it. For me, it is UK-India Advanced Manufacturing Initiative.
Yeah, can I have the next one, please?
The 3 themes of interest.
Okay, so let me try to present here.
Sure.
We're not seeing the full slide.
Yeah.
It won't show up if you don't share the full entire desktop. Perfect. So if you do the previous slide, it'd be brilliant. Thank you. So this advanced manufacturing initiative, why are we doing it? And first of all, we want to explore the appetite for collaboration between UK and India for innovation. And we want to understand the potential scale of that appetite. This Insight webinar is meant to promote the Indian innovation opportunity across the key sector. So highlighting where can we actually collaborate between the UK and India. And finally, we want to be we want to allow the Indian and UK participants to explore and identify areas where they will be interested to collaborate. So we want to create opportunity. Next slide, please. So today, we will be talking about digital manufacturing and connected supply chain. But you might have joined the 2 previous webinars on advanced material and on resource efficient sustainable manufacturing. The recording is available if you're interested. Next slide, please. So what is the UK Pathfinder activities? Well, there is 3 categories. The first one being the Insight webinar. The last one on digital manufacturing is today. But in the next month or 2, we will be inviting all of you to join us for a virtual B2B event. And I hope we will be able to confirm the date very soon, where you will be able to share your knowledge and your pitch your company and probably create consortium for potential project. In parallel, we also got 3 workshops, one for each theme: advanced materials, sustainable manufacturing, and digital manufacturing, and where we will be inviting experts from the UK and from India to help us to identify the area for focus where we should actually focus and where the interest is. Next slide, please. So today I'm very happy to welcome you to the session, and we will have in a few minutes an overview of the UK-India collaboration by my colleague Krunal from Innovate UK. We then will have an overview of the Insight study on sustainable manufacturing. So this is the report this is the results from the report that we asked Innovista to carry on to actually identify where is the innovation happening in India. We then will have two keynote. That's not the one. We will have two sessions. Next slide, please. We will have two sessions. We will have two panel discussion that Vimal and my colleague Nicole will carry on. And finally, we will have a discussion on from Innovate UK Edge to highlight their mission with India. So thank you very much for your time, and I give over to you, Krunal, for the next part of the discussion. Thank you.
So thank you, Geraldine, for very warm welcome. And with this, we like to move to our next session, which is inaugural panel. I am sorry to announce that Ginny is not able to join because she is facing some technical challenge.
No, Vimal, I'm here. I've made it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thanks, Ginny. So I like to welcome Ginny. She will be our next speaker. She is the acting deputy director UKRI India. Ginny is acting deputy director at UKRI India. She leads the portfolio of joint activities focusing on Innovate UK partnership with India and overall UKRI collaboration with India's Department of Biotechnology. She leads the strategic communication and impact for UKRI India. Ginny has a degree in sociology from Delhi University and postgraduate diploma in PR from the Chartered Institute for Public Relations UK. So welcome, Ginny. Do you want us to present your to flash your slide, right?
Yes, that'll be very helpful, Vimal. And what I'll do is I'll switch on my camera for the first few minutes. I have technical issues. You'll probably see two of me. One is on my laptop for visual, and I'm using my phone for audio. So I'm just going to pop up and say a warm good afternoon for those in India and a nice, pleasant good morning to those in the UK while the slides come up.
Yeah, here is Ginny. Yeah.
Right. There we are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vimal, for that introduction. And thanks to the opening, setting the stage by Geraldine and the speakers that are lined up next. Yes, I'm very delighted to be a part of this webinar. And I always say that I don't think I know a lot about digital manufacturing and the connected supply chain, but chain sector. But in the last 72 hours, I've been running in and out along with my team. This has been an important week where we brought a lot of forums together. And I've been hearing this word quite a lot, digital and manufacturing. And my head and my heart tell me that we're on the right track. And there's a lot of connections to be made, no pun. So we're at the right time bringing this pool of expertise together in this sector. So thanks to my colleagues in Innovate UK and Katin for bringing this together. Can I have the next slide, please, Vimal? Great. Some of you know this, but I still want to take this opportunity to talk about a little bit more about UK Research and Innovation, which is the UK's largest public funder of research and innovation. It brings together, as you see on your slide, 7 thematic research councils and Innovate UK and Research England. The reason there's a beautiful yellow around Innovate is because for this particular program, Innovate is the lead council. UKRI India is a representative office for all the 7 councils, all the 9 councils and their remit, representing all of it in all of that here in India. And for today I stand here representing Innovate UK. Our role is to support UK researchers, innovators, research organizations and businesses through our strong partnership and network that we've built with the Government of India and other partners here in India. Again, some of you may know this, UKRI has 4 overseas offices. We have one in Beijing, Brussels, Washington, DC, and my team and I are based here in New Delhi. We are based out of the British High Commission, which also houses other UK teams and departments. You would have named, sorry, that's my dog in the background. You may have heard names of teams like Department of International Trade. And what this does is that along with other UK departments, UKRI, because we are co-located, we make sure that we maximize, we sort of link up our interests to maximize the India-UK research, innovation, technology, and enterprise goals. So we're not doing things in silo, but bringing the community and the interest together. Can I have the 3rd slide, please, Vimal? Yeah, thanks, Vimal. UKRI in its previous avatar was called Research Councils UK, often the acronym being RCUK, and our office was set up more than a decade ago in 2008. And since then, we've built strong partnerships with all leading Indian public funders of research and innovation, such as the Ministry of Science and Technology, which includes Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology. We have partnerships with the Department of Atomic Energy. Also in social science and history, we have partnerships with the Government of India. For this particular theme that we are gathered here today, we think we've had ongoing discussions as the UK, particularly with the Department of Science and Technology, and these are active discussions to see what together can be done by the 2 communities in this sector. Our job here in India is to facilitate, design, develop, deliver a robust partnership and bring the communities together. And gatherings like this, exchange of ideas, sometimes disagreeing, helps us as funders to chisel out what the community can do next. Over the last so many years that we've been here in India, our portfolio has grown. And today we stand on an investment, a joint investment, which means investment that's coming from UKRI and from India, the Government of India. And this co-investment stands at over 330 million. And the consortium of people, that's researchers, innovators, policymakers, industry, have then gone on to generate a 450 million in further funding, which just, again, is a testimony of how sort of things connect and work and amplify. Finally, I want to say that all of the work that we do here as UKRI and as part of the UK network in India is more so in the last 2 years focused to make sure that we're able to realize the vision that has been set by Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Boris Johnson last year, the vision that they'd set for the 2 countries for the next decade to come in the roadmap. And I think that we will be able to show that how the sector that we are gathered here today, the evidence that we gather and the enthusiasm that we gather will help us come closer to that goal. I wish you all the best for all your discussions, and I'm hoping that the input and the evidence that we get will help our job as funders a little more easy and to carve out an opportunity for the community to work together. So thank you for having me here, and all the best for the remaining part of the discussion. Back to you, Vimal.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny, for a wonderful remark. I'm hoping that we are going to start the India-UK bilateral international R&D program again soon. And with this, I now invite to Krunal Ramesh. Krunal, I'm sorry, because of some technical glitches, we thought let's invite Ginny first. And quick introduction to Krunal. Krunal is currently working with Innovate UK and has as an innovation analyst in manufacturing and material. He has a master degree in mechanical engineering with aeronautics from Brunel University, London. He has he worked on various projects such as advanced propulsion configuration from UAVs, major group project, investigation in 3-point bending into aluminum beams, advanced modeling and design. It's design. With this, welcome, Krunal. And do you want to flash the screen?
Yes, could you please put on my presentation if that's all right? Thank you, Vimal, for the introduction. Yep, I can see it. Thank you very much. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So like Vimal has said, my name is Prunal Ramesh, and I work at Innovate UK. I'm currently a graduate, but I've worked closely with the manufacturing materials team, and I've worked with international relations and the UK-India collaboration side of things from Innovate UK, more specifically. My aim today is to give you a bird's eye perspective of Innovate UK for people that don't know who we are, and also will highlight necessity and synergy for international collaborations with the UK in manufacturing material space for research and innovation. Additionally, I will give you a quick overview of what the programs, all projects which have been conducted. My email address is stated below. So if you do need to get in contact with me or have any queries, please do so. Next slide, please, Vimal. Thank you. So just a very quick introduction to Innovate UK. I know Jeannie has explained it previously. So we are the UK's innovation agency, a part of UKRI and the 9 councils, and Innovate UK forms one of those councils. We are a non-departmental public body. What we do, we deliver a range of research and innovation support and programs for UK businesses, which include grant funding, loans, access to investors and research partners. Our support is available to UK businesses of all sizes from all sectors, and we help them to scale and grow both nationally and internationally. Next slide, please, Mel. So Innovate UK helps business to identify the commercial potential in new technologies and turn them into new products and services that will generate economic growth and increase productivity. With a strong business focus, Innovate UK drives growth by working with companies to de-risk, enable and support innovation. So we get the funding from the government department, normally it's from business, energy, industrial strategy department. And then we provide funding competition for businesses, engage with them and provide them networking opportunities and support. We also fund and engage with national hubs, testbeds, catball centres to support signposting and collaboration. And this creates opportunity and capability to strengthen and develop the supply chain. So next slide, please. So this slide really shows the UK government publications of series of strategies and policies over the last 12 months, outlining its bold vision and commitment to secure UK's position as the world leaders in science and global hub for research and innovation. So becoming a global hub for innovation means having enterprises of all sizes creating breakthrough products and services, becoming more productive and efficient and scaling to full growth, right? So the 3 documents, which are the UK Research Development Roadmap, UK Innovation Strategy, and the Integrated National Security Review and Foreign Policy Review, really highlights a clear steer to a more global approach. And some of the key messages from these documents I have stated on the slide. For instance, some of them are just UK must collaborate globally to remain at the forefront of cutting-edge research and innovation, or the UK science and innovation community, institutes and infrastructure, are more outwards facing and track collaboration and investment from across the globe. Next slide, please. So there are many reasons why business should want to go global and One of them is to grow the business and appeal to a wider market. But further from that would be to possibly validate technology on global stage or influence standards and legislation. And for a lot of research and innovation collaboration, they should contribute to the global grand challenges. Next slide, please. Brilliant. So these are the key international programs that Innovate UK and UKRI offer to support with international collaborations. So the Global Expert Missions and the Global Business Innovation Programs, GEM or GBIB. I believe the GEM was conducted virtually at the start of this month, and that's over. But we at Innovate UK, we do have a number of these that we have done. So just a bit of a backstory, and hopefully one of our colleagues will shed light on the opportunities of the GBIB for the future one, which Innovate UK, basically what we do is we pay for business and experts to visit particular countries and explore the market opportunities, innovation ecosystems, the government landscape, and also engage with the government and businesses. When the slides are available, I would advise you to click on the link below and look at some of these opportunities. Next slide, please. So there is a broad range of activities that can connect education through research and innovation, and finally feed into the emerging tech and trade space that fall within the BASE and SIN Science Innovation Network Research and Innovation remit. This is one way to actually visualize the connectivity. So the education to research to where Innovate or UKRI sit, which is innovation and trade and investments. Next slide, please. So just some examples of UK-India collaborations or initiatives. So the first one is JUICE, which is the Joint UK-India Clean Energy Centre. Incorporates multiple projects in relation to decarbonising energy, focusing on integration of photovoltaic and storage technology into power networks. It delivers a joint venture between Engineering and Physical Science Research Council, EPSRC, another UKRI Research Council, and from the Indian side, DST, which is Department of Science and Technology, Government Department. Also, we've worked in lab-to-lab collaboration, research and development with our ISCF, which is Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund, Transforming Foundations, and the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research on the Indian counterpart. Also with plastic waste reduction projects with the ISCF and WRAP, the Indian counterpart. And like I said, stated before, with the number of GEM and GBIB missions. Next slide, please. Brilliant. What the partnerships, what have we done with the UK so far? So we've resulted in collaboration projects of up to 260, and out of that we've got nearly 1,700 publications that have been published. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yep, that's brilliant. Okay, so the past reports clearly highlight, so these are the past reports, and they really clearly highlight the need for strengthening the UK-India research and innovation collaboration and significance of opportunities in the advanced manufacturing materials sector. So some of the reports are from MTC or Innovate UK or the Institute of Manufacturing conducted by University of Cambridge. So I would advise you, when you do have the time, to read this and basically have a quick read through and see the strengths in opportunity of collaboration with India. Next slide, please. So what we are doing is hopefully getting global innovation missions, bilateral research and scoping workshops that has been mentioned previously by Geraldine. We are in works of that, and hopefully we can get something. But today's event would be the last of 3 webinars, and the future activities, hopefully depending on the government funding, we are able to do collaborative research and development funding programs, and hopefully leading on to a joint research centre. Next slide, please. So through our discussion with key stakeholders, both from UK and India, we have initially identified 3 high-level areas of mutual research and innovation interest. We hope that the webinar will highlight the current advanced manufacturing and materials policy landscape, research innovation ecosystem opportunities for UK companies to collaborate with Indian partners. In the following months, we will be looking to define collaborative programs or some of the all of the above themes, subject to, like I said, the government budget allocations. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening in. I'll hand it back to Vimona.
Thank you. Thank you, Krunal, for setting the theme out today and mentioning the opportunities for collaboration and the previous research projects between India and UK. With this, we move on to the next session, which is going to be a presentation on the research findings on the Innovation Insight Study on digital manufacturing and connected supply chains. And I would request Vimal, the Program Director of Innovista, to take forward the session and walk us through the findings of the study. Over to you, Vimal.
Thank you, Sheetal, for introduction. Yeah, let me take my screen on presentation mode. Yeah. So, like the previous speakers mentioned that this is the third in the three webinar we are doing under the India-UK Advanced Manufacturing Partnership. And today's topic is we are presenting our finding on Innovation Insight Study on digital manufacturing and connected supply chain. We thank all the participants and the UKRI, Innovate UK and KTN team for assigning this opportunity to us and commissioning this project. So we like to talk about India-UK opportunity first. So this slide is already presented by the previous speakers. So I'll not take too much time on this, but like to highlight some of the key aspects. The India-UK research, which is a very big size, which is 442 million USD. So my presentation today is on USD side. So Newton Bhava Fund is the most important fund which has been created. The another program is the Modern Energy Cooking Services, which is also supporting the India through the innovation and the multi-pronged approach in the cooking side. And this innovation study is focusing on the aspects of UK-India Roadmap 2030. The roadmap will pave the way for the deeper and more robust engagement. Critical sectors such as people-to-people interaction, commerce, economy, defense, security, climate change, and health. In January 2020, both sides has initiated the first round of negotiation, and I think tomorrow they are also going to discuss about the free trade agreement. And if we talk about the UK landscape on the advanced digital manufacturing, so in 2021, UK government has announced USD 69 million funding to accelerate the innovation in digital manufacturing, and they have created 5 research centers. And I'm not going to talk about these centers, but these centers are actually promoting the overall aspects of digital manufacturing, right from the industrial robots to people-led digitization to the connected factory to the medicine and so on the material science. This is another very interesting slide where the UK we are actually presenting to the stakeholder where we are talking about the innovation landscape in India. India ranked 46th in Global Innovation Index 2021 and 63rd in the ease of doing business. So this numbers may not be looking good, but let's consider that India has adopted a pro-business approach, and Global Innovation Index jumped from 81 in 2015 to 46 in 2021, whereas UK is ranking 4th in GIR. In ease of doing business, India has moved 79 places in last 6 editions. So this is the opportunity which we are talking about. In last few years, India has accelerated the pace of innovation and its economy, and which is resulting now in a way like in India, typically the research and innovation investment by the businesses is very, very low. Less than 1% of GDP goes for the R&D, where in UK it is much higher. And another important aspect through this exercise, the per capita R&D expenditure has increased. And India like to talk about one very interesting aspect, a startup ecosystem. So when India has picked up, they realize that startup wave is going to be the most important. We have 79 unicorns. The unicorns means the startup who has a valuation of $1 billion plus. Every week is some numbers are adding. So like we keep discussing that what is the number of today. So this is the status, and the overall valuation of the startup is 320 billion. It's a very big market and third largest market for the startups in India. Now this is a very interesting slide which I would like to talk. Most of us are aware that India has a very complex research and innovation funding, and having spent considerable time myself in this space, I personally feel that it is important to decode. As a part of this study, we are reviewing 6 sectors, rapid review of 6 sectors, and we realize it is important to simplify the R&I funding landscape for a digital manufacturing and connected supply chain sector. Further, India is working toward development of National Research Foundation, which is expected to consolidate all the research funding. Since this is not there, we like to talk about that. What is this very tricky slides look like? I will try to simplify that. So we have some legends we have used. And the legends in the color which red signify that high impact, and the black signifies that no information available. Then we have we're going to talk about that what is the potential collaboration between UK government and Indian government. That is we made in a circle, and then the research level. So we have classified the research level in a basic and advanced research as a circle, and triangle as a industrial research. So the idea for this exercise is to identify the major stakeholder in the government of India, innovation and research ecosystem, and give the insight about their relative role and specific program that highlighting the key potential. In India, the central government dominates the diverse R&D agenda. Unlike developed countries, the public expenditure is driving force for the R&D. UKRI should collaborate with the DST for overall research and collaboration, and with the DHI for the advanced manufacturing or digital manufacturing, as the DHI is primarily responsible for automation in the sector. If you see that first I mentioned about the role of NITI Aayog, PSA office, Department of Space and Atomic Energy. Here the first two, NITI Aayog and the PSA office, is the primary think tank body to talk about that, and develop the strategy on the top level for the India development. The first box is coming in the Ministry of Science and Technology. Again, we have categorized into 3 parts. One is the research and innovation funding label. So DST, if you see that a DST has both a red circle and the triangle, which means that they are focusing on the highest level on the basic plus advanced research and the industrial research. DSIR focusing mostly on the industrial research and so on. DBT, one of the sector is here, and we have captured the DBT also as a strength for the UKRI to collaborate with India, as they are already doing a lot of program in biotechnology. Our idea is to bring another aspects to that, and then the Ministry of Defense through the DDP and DRDO, they are bringing another level of opportunity where these funding bodies are actually also talking about how to collaborate with the foreign agencies. And DHI I mentioned about, I'm going to discuss in details about the DHI. DPIIT and MIT and other schemes are very relevant over here. we try to decode some of the agency who is implementing the program, like DST. Primarily, they deliver the program through SCRB, TTB, Gita. It is like UKRI funds to Innovate UK, and they then Innovate UK sometimes do directly, sometimes they do involve catapults and KTN. And some of the prominent program for the DST is Bilateral Collaborative Industrial R&D program, Mission Innovation, Project Finance for Technology and Commercialization, High Risk, High Reward, and DST Nidhi Prayas. These are some prominent schemes for the DST where the UK should look into. On the DHI side, Samarth Udyog, Samarth means capability in Hindi. So they have renamed the Samarth Center, R&D Innovation, and then the scheme for capital goods. And likewise, other ministry has. Now I like to focus mostly on the digital manufacturing findings. So major scheme which is actually leading the India's growth ecosystem is the Make in India. Recent announcement of Atmanirbhar Bharat, especially the post-pandemic scenario, and this is also backed by the production link incentive scheme, Digital India, and PM Gati Shakti. We like going to touch upon quickly. And then some of the other initiatives are Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution, National Research Foundations. The third one is the very important National Mission of Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical System, where government has created 25 centers to work on various aspects of IDTs. PM, this is the Niti Aayog initiative of the PM Science Technology Innovation Council and Frontier Tech. They predict the future technology, and the Atal Innovation Mission by the Niti Aayog. In the wake of current pandemic and emerging geopolitical situation in India, India is looked upon as the emerging global manufacturing hub and ranked second, surpassing USA as the most desired manufacturing destination by Cushman and Wakefield in 2021 World Manufacturing Risk Index. Several strategic initiative has been taken. I talked about how the India ranking on various front has improved. So which means that is the right opportunity to talk about and to enter and work with the Indian companies. And I'd like to talk mostly about the Samarth Udyog, which is our Indian version of Industry 4.0. So Samarth stands for Smart Advanced Manufacturing and Rapid Transformation Hub. That is Samarth Udyog Bharat, which is Industry 4.0. So they have created 5 centers. We are fortunate to have the one center head, Professor Jha, who is going to talk about their initiative. Since the project was a very short duration, we did a rapid review of 6 sectors. And these sectors are aligned with the UK-India Roadmap 2030, key initiative and development for both countries, and focus on research on the sector, which is important from both sides. The PLI scheme is the evident as the India focus on the particular sector. The performance incentive is provide financial incentive to the companies having manufacturing center in India, to both domestic and international companies, to meet the domestic needs and boost exports. Happy to share that India has recently achieved $400 billion exports, and mostly coming from the capital goods industry. So it's a good opportunity to collaborate. This is another interesting aspect. Not going to talk about in every aspect, but the emerging opportunity between India and UK is to talk in automobile sector is to work on an energy storage, battery management system, lightweight material, and the automobile in India is going to take a transition, whether it's going to be EV or other fuel cell based hydrogen vehicle or not. So this is another interesting aspect. But of course, India is looking big on the battery and the storage side and the hydrogen side. On the defense and aerospace, happy to share that India is actually looking to be defense export surplus nation also. And the good opportunity where the Rolls-Royce UK is already working with India for the engine component manufacturing. UK and India has also signed the MOU on the light combat aircraft and future fighter jet for the Indian Air Force. So it is a good opportunity where the UK and Indian SME can work together on the localization of the a component of aircraft engine more efficiently and quickly. The SME from both countries could work together to tap the large domestic need and the global demand. Telecom, another area where the government, like we both are facing the same challenge, where the localization and the trusted source is important aspects. India is focusing on the trusted source procurement. The opportunity is into rural connectivity, 5G, SATCOM, and other equipment manufacturing. In the electronic sector, again, mobile phone, if you talk in that this is another big area. The chip design is the very, very big area. Maybe if you are aware of the recent big corporates in India is announcing the chip manufacturing venture. Yeah. The healthcare and in a healthcare and biotechnology, the emerging opportunities already available. The UKRI is already working closely with the DBT, but we thought to add one more aspects that biosimilar is another interesting aspect for India to work up, India and UK to work upon. In the energy sector, like 500 gigawatt by 2030, and current level is around 100 plus. So around 400 gigawatts of the solar energy is going to be installed in next 8 years. So which means that you require a lot of equipments and all, and India is focusing on the manufacturing the solar equipments. So going to create a big opportunity. Another lithium-ion battery has the good opportunity and challenge, as we don't have a technology, don't have a raw material. So we need to look beyond the lithium ion. Some of the Indian corporates like Reliance is focusing on the sodium based battery, and the fuel cell or hydrogen is the another area for energy storage. Now this is the key insight which the study which we are doing. I will start with the key challenges and barrier to the adaptation of digital technology. So I'm not going to explain what I have written the point, but I really want to highlight the retrofitment in Indian context is really challenging and most of the cases not viable. Most of the consultations and research, some of the people are in the panel also. What we gather is plug and play smart box solution to convert the legacy equipment to the smart machines, and does not require any external installation supports. The people from the inside the company can able to do that. Give example of India has adapted automation very well. Digital payment system is one of the good example where India the service provider has developed a very plug and play kind of solution. Now, like every even the very small tea stall is using this tool. So similar thing can be developed in the digital manufacturing also. And that is specifically catering to the need of Indian SME, as Indian SME are working in a very low margin, lack clear vision, and the time automation is misfit. And not all Indian SME are competing in a global space. To be noted that vendors are adapting because some of the vendors are adapting because of OEM pressure. The another key aspects insight about the IDTs. Again, here in Indian context, removal of non-value added activities is the priority to add competitiveness and enhance the productivity. The applications of IDT in such activity would be result into high ROI. So there is a clear-cut need has to be established to bring the digitization, and digitization industry 4.0 does not mean in that overall solution, but maybe at the component level. So all the ITTs are very relevant, and like AI, cognitive learning, robotics, process control, preventing maintenance is the big area where we can have the good track and trace digital twins. And cyber security at the last, when we have the technology, you have to and you're digitizing and generating data, you should have the cyber security. Another aspects of the COVID is that remote connectivity is actually accelerated, and the focus on automation is now clearly evidenced with the Indian industry as the labor issue, space requirement has come. The supply chain become a big challenge at both UK and India is facing that global supply chain diversification is now need rather than the trend, and where both country can work together. Another important aspect in the supply chain is the most of the Indian innovation is happening at the startup level. Mostly startups are going on the D2C venture. So they should have the end-to-end tracking and tracing, especially in the end customer where they have to sell their product in omni-channel. So traditional distributor retailer, then their own portal, then the vast number of e-commerce portal and the model retail. Yeah. The key insight on the research and innovation is that in India, hardware versus software is a very important aspect. So currently, India is focusing on the software-based solution. It's a good opportunity to work together with UK on the hardware, especially the sensors. The component for automations in India are mostly imported, and emphasis on developing a low-cost technology solution by bringing down the human cost of solution. When I say human cost of solution, like computer aided vision, that actual hardware requires just 20% and rest 80% is the manpower. Another example is like in the industry 4.0, we have some of the solution available in a factory, just need to integrate like laptop, dashboard, laptop, tab, mobile phone is available just to use the smart box or sensor and produce the data and visualize the data on your devices. Yeah. And center of excellence is another very important aspects to collaborate. In India, the center of excellence is mostly funded by the government, and some of the private MNCs are funding that center independently. The very important aspect, the outcome emanating from these research centers are not tailored for the requirement of Indian SME and corporate. Here, the opportunity lies how we can actually work together so this center of excellence become productive. So now I'm moving to the next point with the potential area of collaboration. So low cost automation solution, the collaboration need to prioritize addressing the challenges in two needs, upgrading the legacy machines, which I talked in details, and then the software. The joint standard development is very relevant that India has the vast number of machines. All machines have a different specs, different sizes. If we have a joint standard which UK actually lead and globally reputed, and you have a good experience in going global, so this can be good opportunity. Scaling is the another area where UK has learned to how to reskill, upskill their manufacturing. So India can learn and learn that. And possibly we can launch some of the programs in a data analytics. Since we are talking about digital data has to be there in high value manufacturing. India and UK can actually work together in a various aspect, as the UK is way ahead in high value manufacturing and can work with India on the same as India is also focusing on the engineering goods and the cyber security. Of course, it is going to be everywhere. Our key recommendation is center to center collaboration. I like to spend some time. I know I am getting late, but UK has a very industry guided research infrastructure with a made smarter center. These centers can potentially collaborate with the similar Indian center and created under the Udyog Aadhar or National Mission on Inter Cyber Physical System and other with the medium and long term basis. Under NMICPS, the 25 center has been created under DST funding. Each center has to collaborate 2 foreign partners per year. So good opportunity to work together. UK, India should actually launch the large size of bilateral program, maybe in millions or not. So because the digital manufacturing require huge amount of budget or not. The standards which I talked about that need to standardize the machine. So the manufacturer should not be spending too much time on the understanding the basic things of technology and what to launch and what not to launch and all. And as both country is going to sign the free trade agreement, so both market will be open to each other. So it is makes sense for the talk about the standard joint standard and the academia to academia collaboration in innovation consulting. This is a very important aspect. The Indian Technology Transfer Office need to work with the UK Technology Transfer Office. They should be spending some long-term time, maybe 1 to 3 months time, how UK has actually percolated the research to the industry. And then these Indian experts should actually work with the industry to disseminate the knowledge, research, innovation to the industry. Organizing the bootcamp and the startup. This is the one good area where UK has the access of good technology. India has the access of good large customer base, so they can actually UK can gain from India is the how to deal in a volume, and India can gain from UK how to deal in the quality. And they should launch the program like KTN catapults are already working in this, and they should have the local partner to guide them and glide them in a local conditions. Joint skilling program where actually they can work together in skilling, organizing the hackathon and innovation challenge. And last point is the technology showcase. We've seen that like India digital space, that Indian companies are not aware of what technology is going on, and reading through the videos and all is not helping them in much. But having the some kind of joint showcasing will possibly help, and adaptation and the collaboration will be faster. So we recommend strongly in this. Next step is further investigate to identify current gaps of Indian SME in a specific sector, which we mentioned. Establish a joint working group in digital manufacturing to develop a future roadmap and monitoring the progress, possibly with an annual or biannual basis. Organize series of roundtable to identify the joint research projects. Conduct a series of consultation to explore the potential areas outlined in the report. Launching of bilateral collaborative industrial R&D program in digital manufacturing. And the last, set up the industry technology demonstration center in India for the UK high-end technology. So Indian company can see and believe that. So with this, I thank you all for patient listening, and yeah, to Sheetal.
Thank you, Vimal, for the elaborate presentation, and we have really exceeded the time, so I won't take much time further. And we would like to move to the next session, which is the panel discussion on digital manufacturing. And just wanted to share that our moderator, Dr. Nick Rosso, would be unable to join this session because he's under a health impact. So Vimal will be moderating this session, and I would like to further invite Professor Ashutosh Tiwari, who's from the Department of Atomic Control and Systems Engineering, Airbus, RA Research Chair in Digitization for Manufacturing, University of Sheffield, Mr. Joe Smith, who's the Product Lead at Intelligence, and Professor Sunil Jha, who is the professor at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and Director, IITT AIA Foundation for Smart Manufacturing. Welcome all, and I request Vimal to take forward the panel discussion for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheetal. So since Nick is not well, so I am moderating the session. So I welcome Professor Tiwari, Professor Jha, and Joe. In the interest of time, I'd like to request each of you to introduce quickly, and then I will be moving to the first question. So starting with Professor Tiwari. Then Joe,
yes.
and then Professor Jha. Yeah.
Vimal, can I just check? You just want personal introduction at this stage, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashutosh Tiwari, and good afternoon to the people in India. I work in the Department of Automatic Control and Systems Engineering in the University of Sheffield. I hold a very special position in the university. I hold the Airbus and Royal Academy of Engineering Professorship in Digital Manufacturing, which means that I work at the interface between industry and university research in the UK. I also work very closely with the catapult centers, particularly the AMRC, which is located in Sheffield, and also with MTC. And I'm also in the leadership team of one of the Made Smarter centers on connected factories, which is a joint Cambridge, Nottingham, and Sheffield center. So I'm pleased to meet you all and look forward to the conversations today. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, hi everyone, and yeah, thanks for having me on today. So yeah, my name's Joe Smith. I'm the product lead at Intelligence. So Intelligence are a applied machine learning company. So we are a recent startup of about 5 years, working with sort of really large companies in the materials, manufacturing, and chemicals sectors and beyond to try and get the most out of their data. And yeah, so we've recently worked on the Build UK India project, led by Digital Catapult. To try to then apply our technology to the Indian manufacturing sector, where we worked with Godrej Aerospace.
Professor Jha.
Hi, so good morning to UK participants and good afternoon to the Indian participant who joined this webinar. I'm a faculty in mechanical engineering. Last 15 years I'm teaching at IIT Delhi. I am doing research in advanced manufacturing processes, and I'm teaching undergrad and postgrad students the industrial automation and computer-aided manufacturing. Last 4 years, I'm just leading the center on, and it's a foundation for smart manufacturing, developed with the funding from the Department of Heavy Industry and MNCs contributing to the same. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all for warm introduction. So I like to move to Professor Tiwari. With many different institutions, including universities, HBM catapults, digital catapults, and the made smarter centers. The UK now has a very industry guided research and innovation supporting digital manufacturing. Could you comment on how these could play a part of collaborating with India, and what could be the focus for the research led collaboration?
Yes, thank you, Vimal. So for the participants today, let me very quickly explain to you the very vibrant ecosystem of research in the UK, particularly when digital manufacturing is concerned. And Vimal in his question mentioned a few institutions. Let me tell you very briefly on what are focus areas, and then move on to the question. Universities, there is a lot of very active research going on in digital manufacturing, particularly at technology readiness levels 1 to 3. That's where the focus areas are. A number of funding sources support universities in this. I Innovate UK collaborative research with industry helps in that. There are some industry direct funded research. Plus, UKRI body Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council is another mechanism that funds digital manufacturing research in universities. There are some critical mass activities. So EPSRC has set up manufacturing hubs in the UK. These are £10 million activities over a 7-year period. So for example, I'm Deputy Director of the Electrical Machines Manufacturing Hub. All of these hubs have a specific digital manufacturing activity, particularly focused on a particular technology. So that's the kind of the low TRL landscape in the UK. Then we move to catapult centers, high value manufacturing catapult, digital catapult centers, other centers, funded through Innovate UK, also directly through industry. They focus really on the valley of death. TRL 3 to 6 is the area that they focus on. And then more recently, with the ISCF, Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund, in the UK, we have now got 5 centers, all of them involving multiple universities and multiple industry partners. And they have become a key vehicle now for us to commercialize and take to industry transformative digital manufacturing research. And we consider both technological aspects there and societal aspects there, work very closely with the industry to transform research across the TRL scale and make it adaptable to industry. And this is the kind of the landscape of research that covers the TRL scale progression. Now, collaborations with India and how these mechanisms play a role. I'll start with Made Smarter Centers. They are very exciting vehicles to enable this. Made Smarter Centers, and most of them have an industrialization strategy. They also have, in many cases, budgets available for them for industrial linkages. For example, in my own center with Connected Factories, we have budgeted international links. We have also identified countries that we would want to collaborate with. India is one of them. So there is a real opportunity here, as Vimal was mentioning earlier, for having center-to-center collaborations across India and the UK to create critical mass activities, to such an extent that we could move towards having joint centers. These could be virtual centers, but these could be joint centers at the areas of intersection between what the Made Smarter centers are doing and what is happening in critical mass activities in the UK. And that's my first comment on this. Now, moving ahead, with the catapult centers particularly, there's a real opportunity for us to share facilities and data. Now, to some extent, this is happening, but I think more could happen in this space. We have digital twins available of many of our manufacturing infrastructures. They could be linked across geographical boundaries. Data could be shared. We could do research jointly on facilities available to us. And I think that is the second vehicle I would want to mention in terms of collaboration. Now, moving on and looking at people collaboration, which becomes very important in this context, I would really want to pitch here for two-way secondments across India and in the UK. And the two-way secondments could be between university partners, but they could be also across university and industry. And there are a number of companies, both in India and the UK, who have interest in both countries. And I think it really creates a very exciting opportunity where we have secondments, for example, from UK academia to an industry in India, or from an Indian university to a company in the UK, where there are joint interests available. So that's the third mechanism I would want to pitch. And the fourth is I would just want to focus more that we need to make sure that the strategic level collaboration gets converted to researcher collaborations. And for that, we need mechanisms such as hackathons. And I think it was mentioned in the earlier presentations today, where we allow researchers to mix together, perhaps driven by a common industrial challenge. Yeah. So these are the four mechanisms. Now the areas that I think we could look into. I'll talk about three areas. Let me start with the first area here. The UK government has recently released the UK Innovation Strategy report. And I would recommend people to have a look at it. It's a very nicely created report. It talks about 7 focus areas for the UK. And 3 of those areas directly are relevant for this conversation today. Very quickly, they talk about materials and manufacturing as an area, AI, digital and computing as another area, and robotics and smart machines as another area. So 3 out of the 7 areas fit very well with the UK innovation strategy. So I think we need to look for alignment across those strategies and Indian strategy, looking at synergistic strengths. For example, UK's strengths in high-value manufacturing and India's strength in IT sector, how they can work together across those core areas. That's first point I would mention. The second, in terms of the areas for collaboration, is looking at perhaps global challenges together, where both countries have a passion and interest. And I would want to mention energy and environment as one of those. How digital technologies, digital manufacturing techniques can contribute to sustainability challenges. Can we work together in those areas? There are already programs in the UK, in India. Can we work together? I think that's an interesting opportunity. And the third area where personally in my research, I'm very, very passionate about in digital manufacturing, we do a lot of research on high-end digital manufacturing. How do you get it translated into legacy systems? And legacy systems are there in India. They are also in the UK, in many of the industrial companies that have been there for more than 100 years. And I think we need to look at those legacy infrastructures and see how digital manufacturing techniques can work and be useful for those settings. Linked with that, there's an issue of skills. And if we want to permeate into the legacy infrastructures in SMEs, we also need to look at the skill infrastructure in SMEs and how do we support them on an ongoing basis to benefit from industrial digital technologies. So with that quick introduction, I would stop now and would welcome any comments as we move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tiwari. So now I move to the next panelist, Mr. Joe. So, Mr. Joe, you being yourself as a startup and the area you work, and there you are already having the experience of working with a large Indian corporate. And one of the insight we got that India and UK SME should, when we say SME, this include startup, of course. So how they can actually work together, how the Indian corporate can work with the UK and Indian startup together to solving some of the challenges. So would you, with this background, I just trying to understand from you, what are the role of manufacturing intelligence and the relevant for the companies and SME? What experience do you have working with the Indian partners, and the recommendation you'd like to have for the collaboration support?
Yeah, thanks for that. So I think, yeah, so to break that down, as that first point, the role of manufacturing intelligence. So especially where we've found that we can adapt our offering in terms of using all of the data that is being collected to make better decisions and reduce things like time and cost. Where we really find this is beneficial for the Indian market is in reducing cost in the key areas of particularly time and energy, as well as then wasted material. So this comes back to what Vimal noticed about sort of the using data better. And then in terms of the digital twin aspect, actually that's a brilliant way to sort of improve efficiency. So running virtual experiments rather than sort of costly designs of experiments runs. I guess there's another aspect as well, which is the environmental impact. So this is where we have our own experience from the Build UK India project, which was working towards industrial net zero in the Indian manufacturing sector. So this is going to be really important for trying to reach those sort of tough new net zero goals that India set out at COP26, and that are becoming sort of more and more relevant every day. So then when we move on to sort of other areas that were picked up by Vimal in your presentation, supply chain is a particularly important issue for the Indian manufacturing market, and being able to improve our resilience using that is a particular application that we maybe haven't used quite so much in the past, but we think will be really important going forward. And so being able to be reactive to supply chain issues is an area where data-driven approaches can be really beneficial. In terms of our experience working with Indian partners, I think I mentioned a bit before that we were part of the Build UK India project. And so the particular use case there was trying to reduce the number of defects in an aerospace welding process. So this naturally comes with those time and cost reductions, especially in terms of material when these are high value parts. But also then in trying to achieve those environmental goals as well. And what we found during the project actually is that there is an extra need on our side in terms of our development of our software platform for advanced and powerful analytics for the data, but importantly that are really easy to use, so that actually the engineers on the shop floor can get the benefit out of them, because it's no good sort of having a really powerful machine learning platform if no one can actually use it. And so I think that's going to be a really key area of collaboration going forward, is making sure that any advanced technologies are actually usable and can be implemented in the corporates themselves. In terms of the more of the challenges that we've noticed and recommendations we'd have for collaboration support, I think that the key one that's been picked up several times already is this problem of retrofitting. So I think where we notice this in particular is that startups of really any variety will naturally focus in one particular area. So we, for example, have our expertise on the advanced machine learning side, and then deploying that to an easy to use web platform. But what we're finding is, because a lot of Indian companies in the manufacturing sector especially are only just beginning their digitalization journey, what they need is more than just a solution to one of those particular areas. And so what we found with working with Godrej Aerospace was that whilst we can provide the machine learning solution, what was really useful is for us to help connect them to people that could talk to them about, say, IoT solutions for measuring the actual parameters, because what they might have is some historic data, but what they have is a plethora of data that can be collected. And so the most important thing from their perspective was actually first being able to measure that data, and then actually be able to feed it into a machine learning algorithm. So both from our point of view, in trying to help them, and theirs specifically, and we think this will be replicated across many companies, will actually be the need for, I guess, companies across both sides really to work together, but not just in a single collaboration. It's about drawing those threads together to try and provide that full digitalized solution that's actually going to provide some benefits.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. With this, I like to move to the next panelist, Professor Jha. So, Professor Jha, now I heard that National Capital Good Policies budget has been approved recently. So this is a good news, and I'm hoping that TFP program again re-energized. What are the key element required to enable wider acceptance of robotic and automation within the Indian companies, especially SME? How are the Udyog Samar centers working with Indian companies? Please highlight potential area collaboration opportunity with the UK.
Okay, thanks, Vimal. And I must thank Professor Tiwari to just given a quick insight on the kind of a good ecosystem that UK is operating with academics. Certainly, I will also compliment the kind of initiative Indian government has taken in last few years. This is the way the whole research activity has been driven, and then a lot of new technology innovation hubs has been created. The kind of initiative that Ministry of Heavy Industry has taken to create the initial summer centers. So I think we are also trying to align towards building such ecosystem in India as well. And I'm more focused, or I should be looking forward more opportunities where we will be enabling the MSMEs and SMEs actually. The challenges, what we understand, certainly in academic institution, research and other things are going very well in collaboration with the abroad universities as well. But how we will be translating this research into the useful technology that can be deployed into the shop floor, I think that's a challenge we would like to address together. That is what my intent is. Certainly some of the key learning from what you have can be brought to our centers, and the implementation can be looked forward. When we look forward for the adoption part of the technologies, and Vimal was talking about the robotics and automation, certainly first thing is the affordability. Everything is being imported, even hardware I can still assume that it can be fine, but the lot of IP cost and the software development part, if we can at least leverage some of those developments indigenously and can reduce the cost of the affordability of those technologies to the MSMEs, I think that is one barrier we can easily remove. The another thing, most of the MSMEs are saying whenever we create an awareness about the smart manufacturing industry 4, they are not very clear about the use cases actually. So certainly the big industries can understand that very well. They are able to connect it also what is going across across the world actually. But when it comes to the ROI justifications, small industries are not so convinced. Whether we talk about the digital twin or we talk about the even the basic technology like IoT, they are not even convinced that how they are going to benefit out of this implementation. So more use cases, either they can be brought from the international learning, and then maybe some of the use case we can develop in India as well along with these companies. That will give more confidence to the industry to adopt such technologies. I think that's another barrier we can work on this. The another thing I'm looking at as a part of my foundation for smart manufacturing also, we are looking forward to build a common pool of solutions and the technologies actually. Right now, people who are even they are embracing and appreciating the technologies, yeah, they are going to certainly play an important role, but they are not very clear about that, how the deployment, how the implementation can do, what should be the roadmap for them to go ahead on that, where they will look forward for those solutions. Even not many system integrators are being available, or trained people are available to implement those solutions. So we are looking forward for building up a common pool of technologies, and certainly then handholding the industries for the implementation part. That will also bring out the need of the upskilling of the people and training people, because what we want to at least deploy in such a big landscape of a country like India, we need to enable people to do their deployment themselves. So the training is again a very important part, and we try to bridge the skill gap and then at least take them through the hands-on implementation part. That's how our center is looking forward. When it comes to the solution, certainly the hardware, as we understand, robot is only 1/3 or even less than the cost of the total solution actually. People may not be able to visualize beyond that what is being required to deploy the whole solution, and many times they are completely driven by what companies are just going to teach or educate them. So we need to look forward for those kind of an understanding and training to the people, so they will understand the totality of the solution actually, and then they will be certainly looking forward, because once they start a project, they buy the robot and then they are completely blank basically, and then they see that there's a additional 2/3 of the cost is being involved to make this whole system functional actually. So those kind of gaps can be certainly bridged with the kind of a training that we are looking at. When it comes to the role of centers like us, which kind of a vision of the Indian government and then the Ministry of Heavy Industry, we are trying to again build up a similar ecosystem what Professor Tiwari was talking about, where we already have the technology partners working with us. So most of the MNCs across the world, they are partner with us. We are trying to engage our people for the academics and research activities so that we'll be able to develop some solutions that will bring out the cost of the deployment. we are also enabling the ecosystem of the system integrators. Actually, they are the very important link missing right now. They are there, but they are mostly on the automation solutions. They are not still being upgraded to deploy the solutions like when we talk about the digital twin or the IIoT things. So what we want to have, we want to enable them, train them, and then only we will be able to reach out to the end user industries actually. So this ecosystem is certainly need to be strengthened, and certainly we are playing a big role in that part. We already have created a very nice test bed or a platform actually at IIT Delhi that can be used for prototyping some of the solutions before the companies will take into their shop floor. So that kind of an infrastructure being made available, certainly very well funded by the ministry in that case. Knowledge sharing sessions we are already conducting. Certainly we can take some of the help from the foreign collaborators where they will also be sharing their learnings and then how these solutions can be deployed. So whatever we have created as an infrastructure, we are already conducting some sessions to the people, some kind of workshops can be conducted for the people. So they will also be understanding the depth of implementation, what exactly is required to do that part. So these are the areas we certainly look forward. The good thing is that we have already initiated this activity, almost 4 or 5 years we are into that pool. And the kind of an ecosystem that UK has built up, certainly we look forward for that kind of intervention, and working together will help the Indian industries as well. Over to you, Vimal.
Thank you, Professor Jha, for the wonderful session. Just quick one minute. I will come to each panelist for 1 minute. In a sequence with Professor Tiwari, Mr. Jo, and then Professor Jha. What is there any other insight you want to share with us in 1 minute?
I think Vimal, from what Joe and Professor Jha have said, there are two other points I would mention. First is, I think continuity of these collaborations is very important. So what I have seen from my own experiences in the past is, we have spikes of collaborations in particular areas, and those spikes with time go away, and that's natural. That's the nature of research collaborations. But perhaps what we need to think about is how those collaborations could have a longer life. And that's where I think I was pitching for center-to-center links, where a critical mass is created of people who work at that interface and that can survive a decade or even more, and create a generation of people who've been trained with that. That's one point I would want to mention. And the second point I would want to mention is perhaps linking with the business challenges that are there available across the two countries. And I've used the word challenges here, but really what I mean is opportunities. For example, the vast manufacturing base in India, how the UK system integrators or technology providers can get access to not just the market, but the challenges and the opportunities in that market, and develop solutions to address that collaboratively with Indian partners. So these are the kind of 2 points I would want to mention. Thank you.
Yeah, so I guess just to pick up on something that Professor Jha said as well, I think actually the education or training side is really important, even from the purely industrial side that sort of intelligence are coming at it from, where what we find is that there is a hunger, a need to use data more effectively. And so a really strong desire to try to digitalize better, to do more. But there is then a disconnect between that and actually knowing what solution to choose out of the many that exist, and even what needs to be known to make that decision. And so I think it changes the way that the communication has to happen. And it's as much we find about informing about machine learning in general from our side, or for other technologies, it'd be informing about the technology in general and being ready to view it as a really strong collaboration, rather than necessarily sort of for us a single direct link. I think you have to be prepared to sort of go on that journey, and sort of, as I was alluding to with our case, tie those links between, say, the IoT or maybe the robotics with the machine learning. Because once that's then all set up, the benefits would be enormous.
Yeah, so I just want to add this same aspect. I would like to appreciate the concern that Professor Tiwari has mentioned, this broken links actually. So certainly at IIT also we have a lot of research collaboration going across other universities, but the consistency part, and especially when we're talking about the manufacturing, I think we certainly look forward for next to 5 years of kind of a landscape to work collaboratively. And then this certainly the linkage with the centers will be strengthening this part, because we have already created that critical mass already working in that domain, and we will be giving more opportunities to our students and researchers to work in that area. The second aspect I would like to highlight, the translation part of the research. I think that is what is very important, because our center is again not just for academic interest. The ministry has invested basically to take the solutions to the industry. Unless we see that happening across actually. So certainly we can bring out more publications out of the work that we are doing, but unless the solutions are being deployed in the industry, I think we will not be doing the justice with the funding that has been given. So these are the two aspects I look forward, the collaboration between the center to center and taking the research to the translation aspect where the industry solutions can be deployed actually.
So thank you, Professor Tiwari. Thank you, Mr. Joe, and thank you, Professor Jha. And we request the delegates to type your question. We will be going to take the question after the next panel discussion. So with this, I like to pass the mic to Sheetal.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the first panel. And with this, we are moving on to the next panel discussion, which is on connected supply chains. And for that, I would like to invite our moderator for the session, Nicole Ballantine, who's already with us. Hi, Nicole. So Nicole leads the Manufacturing Made Smarter part of Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund, and is growing a vibrant, cohesive community of industrial digital technology providers, developers, and users across sectors, supporting manufacturers to embrace digital technology innovation and technology developers to innovate the best solutions. Nicole, over to you. You could take forward from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheetal, and thank you, Vimal, for your last session. A very hard act to follow. You're very clear in what you discussed and how you led that conversation. So thank you very much. I do have one slide that I would like to share. I haven't practiced this, so I'm hoping it's going to work. Can you see that?
Yes, it's visible. It's visible.
Can you see like a big running track?
It's visible. It's visible. I can see connecting for positive change, the KTN slide in the background. I think it's like your. Yeah, now it's visible. The Made Smarter Innovation slide.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is just to show the overview of the £300 million investment that Innovate UK has made in Made Smarter. So Made Smarter was I've heard it mentioned a number of times, which is why I thought it was really important to bring this up. Made Smarter was an initiative that started back in 2016, 2017, and part of the issue that was identified, there's 4 key kind of columns of support. One was around adoption, one was around innovation, one was around leadership, and one was around skills. So the £300 million project, which is that's showing on your screen now, is the investment that's been made in the innovation programme. And about the research centres, which on the slide is the green line centres. There are 6 research centres that have been invested in, but also there's a huge, the £60 million, which doubles up to £120 million being invested in collaborative research and development. And the last CR&D programme was specifically on connected supply chains, which is why I wanted to it links in very nicely with what our next discussion is all about. So can someone take the control back of the screen? Sorry.
Nicole, can you stop sharing? Once you stop sharing, we'll get back the control. Yeah, it's done.
Oh, brilliant.
Good.
Great. Thank you very much. So for my session on connected supply chains, I'm wanting to introduce you to speakers. We've got Vikas Saxena. Is Vikas online? Hi. We've got Professor Mukesh Kumar, who is already on the screen. Hi. George Paul.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
I'm here.
Hi.
I'm here. Hi.
Can we get George on the screen, please? And Kushal Kaldra. We get them on the screen.
Nicole, they're already there. You could just proceed. Yeah.
I can't see them. Okay, right. Okay. So, for my panelists, I'd like in 2 or 3 minutes each. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes just to introduce yourself before we kind of get into the panel discussion. So, Vikas, if you would like to lead. So, I know that you're the director and head of software division at Nationalrna, India. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I think that suffices. Essentially, if we just in terms of education, spent my time in IIT Kanpur and in IIM Ahmedabad in past, and for 16, 17 years running this center of Nationalrna in India. Nationalrna is actually a UK headquartered company. We have an office in Gloucestershire area in UK. And it's very well known for its innovation in the field of engineering in UK. And this Nationalrna's subsidiary office in India, which I look after.
Okay,
and,
great. Vikas, welcome to the panel. Mukesh Kumar, you are a university lecturer at Cambridge at the Institute of Manufacturing. Would you just like to introduce yourself? Thanks.
Yeah. So recent development, I'm associate professor now because the designation had changed recently.
Sorry.
So associate professor in industrial engineering and operations management. I'm part of Department of Engineering, and the Department of Engineering has 6 divisions, and one of the division is called Manufacturing and Management, which has the brand name called Institute for Manufacturing. We talks about manufacturing, we lives with manufacturing, we do research on manufacturing, we practice manufacturing. But our manufacturing definition is not just bending metal, it's more from understanding market to design to even after product use, we do the decommissioning. So all these things has been looked into these areas. Particularly, I run a small research group with 8 PhD students and few postdocs looking at industrial resilience, which focuses on factory level resilience, supply chain level resilience, and industrial ecosystem level resilience.
Great. Thank you for joining the panel. Next, I'm going to ask Paul, who is the CEO of the Manufacturers of Information Technology. George.
Good afternoon, Nicole. Am I audible?
I can hear you, yes. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Just to give a background, MATE is the apex industry body for the electronics hardware industry in India. From a domestic market perspective, the industry covers roughly $64 billion, consisting both of large global companies and small and medium enterprises. On my personal front, I have 40 years of experience in the electronics design, manufacturing, and maintenance industry. And India very clearly is looking at 2030 as the decade when it can emerge as a design-led manufacturing destination. And in that context, Industry 4.0 and connected manufacturing becomes very, very critical in a high-velocity business like electronics. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, great. Thanks, George.
Thank you for having me.
And Kushal Kaldra, who is the head of Smart Factories Industry for Wipro Parry. So, Kushal, do you want to just give me a couple of minutes who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hi team. So I head the Smart Factories like vertical for Wipro Infrastructure Engineering, along with both consulting as well as our own captive application like within Wipro. So overall, close to around 16 years of like experience into automotive, e-commerce, and into manufacturing, and started with like hardcore shop floor experience, getting into OPEX, and then finally into the consulting part. So this is my journey in the past 16 years. I'm happy to join you all.
Great, thanks, Kushal. So I'm going to go back to Vikas, if it's okay for you, to start off the panel. So your company has considerable experience of working in India. Can you comment on how the requirements of automation have evolved over the years?
Yeah, sure. I did very quickly mention that Nationalrna is known for engineering innovation, and most of the products we make, a lot of them essentially will help in one or other kind of automation. But not trying to get into marketing my own products. If we just talk of the automation requirements, in last couple of decades, I think time frame can change the way you see it. When the automation was the tool to reduce your labor costs and try to see how I can make things cheaper and I don't reduce my labor and dependency on labor and everything else. The automation has come a long way from there, where the automation is a necessity now, a need now for the manufacturing, because the market space is evolving so quickly that companies need to produce and develop and produce products and bring them to market very, very quickly. The requirement of quality in the market for the consumers across the globe, not just in any particular part of the world, has become so high that the need for precision or need for accuracies in all the manufacturing process have increased manifold. And to achieve those kind of repeatabilities or precision with repeatability on manually is almost impossible. That's why more and more companies are moving towards automation, because unless they are able to achieve that repeatability with or the precisions with that repeatability, they will stand no chance in the market. So
sure, yeah.
Automation
I'm just thinking,
automation is a tool for cost saving. Now we are at the level where automation is the need, necessity. Nobody can run away from automating their manufacturing processes. So that is how I see the changing landscape of automation in it.
Yeah, and the link, I suppose, into the discussion of the session is around supply chain. So in the wake of the current global supply chain disruptions and what you mentioned, the transparency, what's the focus for you on maintaining and traceability in supply chains?
That is obviously that is a far trickier thing to talk about and to resolve, because what is my need is one thing, and I can be very clear about what I'm after. Whether I'm able to achieve that or not becomes a different ballgame altogether. And especially, say, given last 2 years in the during the pandemic, a lot of disruptions were observed across through all of our life, not just supply chain. Okay, and how different portions of the chain is dealing with that disruption is also different, and that is inherently introducing a bit of opaqueness in what's going on. So the transparent means, again, the need is to. There are two different things we're talking of. I think we are talking about. One is how potentially we can have the transparency and the traceability into supply chain, which can lead us towards more digital manufacturing world. And what is that we are currently experiencing in the world because of what we saw in last 2 years in context of pandemic. So they are, I think, very different topics to comment on, and I think each of them can take more than a few minutes to talk about. Okay, so unless we resolve the first one, the second one, which is how the industry as a whole is going to overcome the current state of disrupted supply chain, I think any talk about theoretical supply chain will be connected supply chain will remain more theoretical. And the way we are trying to overcome is clearly, if we are trying to maintain transparency, it is about, are we giving a larger window for our projections and our forecast to our suppliers that we do, as you generally do. This is our demand for this period of time, but we generally, if we were giving them a 6 months window, now we are giving them 12 to 18 months window, that this might be what we are requiring over this longish period of time. But so that is how we are trying to bring the transparency to the system. Okay, we ourselves are trying to make sure that we have a larger amount of safety stock as opposed to what we used to have pre-pandemic, whether it is our finished goods or whether it is our components, but we are just trying to have a higher level of safety stock. But that is where the trouble is. Then if each manufacturer starts doing that, the demand is not necessarily pointing to the end user consumption, but it is probably swelling the inventory within the chain itself. So that's why it is very important to come out of this a little bit before we, in true sense, talk about what the connected supply chain, how that might emerge actually.
That's really interesting.
I will make one more point because that is very close to the way we do things. We always look for supply chain in the context. Mostly, we look to when we talk of supply chain, we look into the context of actually the products which are being manufactured going to the market. But there is another portion of supply chain which generally gets ignored, is when products are under development. And that is where the transparency part of the supply chain can be very, very crucial. That if an OEM is engaging the supplier with a lot more transparency in the projects they are undertaking and saying, this is where I'm trying to go, and this is where I need your help in supplying what I'm after. So, as obviously everybody will know that when we are doing prototyping or developing, we need very little quantities, and suppliers have always a rated of word of MOQ will hang on your head. But if you are trying to engage and have a transparent communication with your suppliers during your prototyping phase, you potentially can make them actually your partners in your development, and they start sharing the risks and rewards of it. So that portion of transparency for the supply chain for a product under development is, I think, very, very essential. And somewhere in these discussions or otherwise, that thing also should come high on the discussion items, that how do we develop that?
Sure, for sure. I mean, collaboration and communication throughout and working outside our normal silos, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think there's a reason that the UK program, we call it CR&D. It is collaborative research and development. It's not internalized and hidden away. So thank you very much, Vikas. Hopefully there'll be some questions coming in on the Q&A. I know I've got some questions, but we need to move on. So over to Professor Mukesh. So with the emerging requirements of supply chain diversification and ensuring supply chain security, how can the adoption of digital technologies help in building a competitive UK and India supply chain?
Thank you very much, Nicole. I think Vikas has put things quite nicely about the communication gaps within the supply chain, upstream supply chain or downstream supply chain. One thing is quite interesting is that after COVID, we don't need to talk about what is supply chain, because many of us now know what the supply chain is, how it has impacted us, whether we had the shortages in supermarket or whether we impacted on the health supply chain. But it's not new to India. I know during my postdoc after 2010, I was listening to one of the chief ministers of Gujarat talking about industrial system, how economic development will come. And he was using supply chain word, which was surprised me that, okay, how come policymakers are talking about supply chain? And he's our current prime minister in India. So I think the policy level, the awareness is there in India. In UK, COVID has bring the supply chain as one of the key topic that is concerns us. In terms of looking supply chains and its requirements for diversification, we know that during pandemic, we have the shortages of gloves, protective PPEs. That certainly led us to think about that we need to really can't depend on one particular location which supplies everything, and what happens to that location, now it's going to disrupt our life. That brings to the national security question. So supply chain has moved up from the company level competitiveness to national security question. That's upgrade has bring policy level attention. So supply chain is exactly not very old concept. It's a 50 years academic concept which has developed. Initially, it was more focused on the company level and basically more focal company level, such as Rolls-Royce, such as Jaguar Land Rover kind of company, thinking about immediate supplier. Now the question is looking at end-to-end supply chain, and UK India has various opportunity to solve the current challenges that we all face. Pre-COVID pandemic, we had global disruption which cost nations around $56 billion, which is a huge amount of money. Existing supply chain has wastage problem. It's not efficient. Although we call it's a lean supply chain or agile supply chain or agile supply chain, but it has huge issues. It's based on thinking about resources are infinite, which is not. Resources are limited. So we need to develop a supply chain which is based on that. It means we need to think about circularity, carbon zero concept. It pollutes environment, and we have product safety and quality issues that we are dealing with. In healthcare, counterfeit medicines are quite big problem. And bringing these two supply chains should not create more problems or create these problems more severe. It should be actually solving these challenges, and digital supply chain and connected supply chain certainly provide those opportunity if it's been handled correctly. What I mean, technology is necessary, but not sufficient. We need to think about other aspect of implementation. One example that I would like to bring from UK is we have smart roadways or highways or expressways, and we know how many people are getting killed on those smart ways because it's not properly implemented. We should not create those challenges that we have learned in UK of early adoption of digital technology. There is a big report coming on by BASE and Institute for Manufacturing, looking for why manufacturing supply chain matters. We discuss about security of a supply, but supply chain also creates huge job, provides good economic opportunity. That's why we need to be connected with each other. It also helps to diffuse any innovation that happens through supply chain. It brings sector competitiveness and R&D commercialization. Supply chain is needed. But supply chain is not just about few big multinational corporations. Supply chain has, if you look at extended supply chain, it may have thousands of companies. More than, I think industrial sector, if you look at one of the fact is for the car industry, more than 75% of value added often produced outside of UK. So only 25% value we are adding within UK. So we need to think about in this more after Trump, Ukraine, and Brexit, localized production and localized supply chain, thinking about how these things come together within UK and India context, because both nations need economic development, job growth. Now, all these things are fine. Technologies we have, technology are being implemented. Companies are doing fantastic job. Research institutions are bringing new applications and new technologies in these areas. But one thing to remember, how to upscale these ones, how to convert and transform the existing industrial systems to a digital industrial system, not to take any adverse impact on human employment. Here is the very good example of Volkswagen factory, which is recently been transformed for making electric vehicle. It has more automation, but they haven't fired a single employees. They have invested a lot in upskilling their employees. They moved their employees to different areas, such as maintenance of those automations and digital technologies. So skilling becomes quite important. So requirement when we are looking at upskilling. But there's another bit that I would like to bring into this discussion, that we talked about the digital supply chain, we talked about infrastructure. The physical infrastructure is important, but digital infrastructure is much more important to support the connected supply chain between India and UK. And what do I mean about, it's not about just wires and laptops and the hardwares and the softwares. It's about the services that industry really need. We know we have regulatory requirements to know about origin of the product in UK. We have requirements to actually understand the supply chain is ethical, no labor, child labors were employed, no slavery is there. All these requirements becomes quite complicated when two different types of industrial system trying to integrate with each other. Now we need to think about supply chain transparency and traceability. Company level, it can be possible to some extent, as Vikas has mentioned, but end-to-end supply chain, I think we need much more government level interventions, where I would like to propose that India, UK should have a global supply chain observatory, which monitor these things, think about the data, bring things together and help companies to make decisions. Supply chain has decisions on strategic level, tactical level and operational levels. Strategic level decisions such as supplier selection, what kind of technology I should use, where I should produce. All these information these companies need. Remember, most of these companies will be SMEs and MSMEs. They don't have resources. Another requirement would be where the investment and support should come to finance this supply chain transformation to digital supply chain. So all these things becomes quite interesting. An interesting area to actually work and do something together.
Yeah, and I think I never thought, 2 years ago that in the same sentence you would say Brexit, COVID, Ukraine, and and the impact that has had. The words flow out of our mouth, but the impact that that's had on supply chains. It's just, would we be having the same conversation now if it was 2 years ago? I'm not sure.
Of course, these events are happening and
speeded things up a bit.
Yeah, these events are happening, and this is making us to rethink about where we should depend our supply chain and goods that we procure. One thing that I wanted to bring one thing to attention, that UK has lots of good practices in terms of skills development in digital side. Various projects are happening. Rolls-Royce that is on. Our Institute for Manufacturing has Shoestring project, which actually developed the low-cost digital capability development for SMEs, which works in the whole supply chain.
Which I would like to. I brought. Oh, sorry for me to interrupt. When I brought my original slide, there is that bit around adoption, and the Shoestring project is, those technologies are there, but we appreciate nothing is plug and play. So it's about adoption, it's about innovation, it's about leadership and skills, and they all have to come together in the same package to provide a collaborative system that works. Thank you, Mukesh, for your contribution there. I'm sure there will be some questions. I can see questions coming in the chat, but if we can quickly move on to George. Hi.
Yes, Nicole.
India is a strong the global value chain. How can Indian leverage advanced technologies to become competitive, especially from a supply chain perspective?
I lost your voice in between, Nicole. If you don't mind, could you just repeat the context?
Yeah. So from your view, for your opinion, how can Indian companies leverage advanced technologies to become competitive from a supply chain perspective?
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. So, in the post-COVID and post-sanctions China plus one era, the China plus one strategy that we are in, India offers an opportunity to be an alternate manufacturing sector for leading global economies, including UK. We, over a period of time, we have seen that UK as a country has been at the cutting edge of technology development, which gets used in various products that are coming out, and these eventually need to get manufactured, and the connected supply chain, the automation, the industry 4.0 offer an opportunity for the UK companies to interact with Indian companies in a much more easier manner and a much more seamless manner, opening up opportunities for Indian companies. That's my first reaction to what is it there. Companies are seriously looking at China plus one. In India, we have a political leadership that has taken ambitious targets in terms of growing the Indian economy, growing the manufacturing sector, and hence there is a lot of government support towards growing manufacturing. Professor Mukesh has given a very, very comprehensive talk. It was a small classroom lecture that we all got from him. Thank you for that. But just to share, in India, the government has floated a trusted supply chain policy framework. It is under discussion. We are looking at benchmarking it with what is there in the global developed economies. There is an opportunity to bring best practices that UK has implemented, because when you come up with something like a trusted supply chain, you should also be careful that you do not become overzealous or over-regulatory, because that will then handicap the industries, particularly the small and medium industries. From an India context, we also have a challenge that many of the SMEs have to mobilize what you call finances to upgrade their manufacturing capability to come to the industry 4.0. It's a combination of, one, the awareness, then realizing the need, and third is then mobilizing the funding to bring in that capability. And as Vikas said, increasingly automation now is becoming the minimum stakes on the table. Without that, it is something like the ISO 9000 we had about 30 years back, or CMMI level 2, 3 that we went through. When it initially came, we all wondered what is all this, but we soon realized that the benefits of these standards translate into eventually business benefits into business benefits. And here, of course, we are in a similar phase where we are going to take manufacturing supply chain efficiencies to a new level, because it is connected, you have visibility, there is a higher trust factor, etc., which comes. So now globally and also in India, we are in a phase where bulk of the capital equipment are the pre-industry 4.0 or 3.0 era. So what is it that we are doing today? We are trying to build in the intermediary level that will allow you to come to a maturity that enables the company to hook onto a industry 4.0. We could possibly look at a graded approach over there. I mean, this is a field of specialization of Vikas, I'm sure. I also believe that we need to publish standards on industry 4.0, maybe a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, everybody need not go straight to a level 5, or maybe everybody does not need to go to level 5. And this is a phenomenon that we will face for the next maybe 5 years, because after that, what will happen is that all the new capital equipment would be Industry 5.0 ready or 4.0 ready. So in this interim phase of 6 years, where we have got manufacturing infrastructure already in place, how can we support the SMEs to bridge this? Finance in India costs as high as 11%. When you become an SME, it goes as high as 12 to 13%. So can there be bridge loans where there are at LIBOR rates which are typically 0.5%? Money can be made accessible to SMEs so that they can invest and then reclaim that. These are some of my reactions, Nicole.
Okay, great. Thanks, George. And it's an interesting one because some of what you mentioned is around adoption. And at what point is there adoption support needed, and what point is there innovation support needed? And actually, I think my belief is there's a big grey gap in between. There isn't a kind of a firm line. This is adoption. This is innovation. So yeah, because I think all of us have touched on both innovation and adoption. But thank you very much, George. And so, last but not least, moving on to Kushal, who's the head of Smart Factories. Kushal, do you want to put your camera on, and I think you'll appear on screen. So my question, hi Kushal. So my question for you, Kushal, is what's the current status of what kind of solutions would be required in India to enable the industry to adopt or scale? And with that in mind, especially tier 2, 3 vendors who aim to work with the large Indian and foreign OEMs.
Yes, Nicole, so if you see the entire structure of the current supply chain, primarily when we talk of the value stream, so there is one portion which primarily rests with a manufacturer which is inside the plant, and then the other part is on the upstream front as well as on the downstream front. So on the upstream front, we have suppliers supplying the parts. On the downstream front, we have customers waiting for the inputs to come in. In this entire scenario, one thing which becomes predominant, very, very much needed, is the sustainability and the predictability of the throughput. And irrespective of whether it is a manufacturing environment or it's a supply chain logistic environment, the end results primarily which everyone asks for is a predictable throughput. And to make that happen, the only way which I see, so like almost like some 6 to 7 year backs, when we were talking about Industry 3.0 scenario, one of the aspects which everyone was using was the operational excellence part, primarily working upon lean to bring it around efficiency, and also that helps them to bring about predictability. But with the changing times, and when we say, so we are into a time when we are sure that the era is of predictable unpredictability. So we can predict that there has to be unpredictability coming into the system. With that thought process, so there has to be a leap jump rather than focusing onto those lean part to bring in efficiency. And the focus which I see right now internally, things are easy to control. If you have something internally within the plant, you see it on everyday basis, and you have a much more leverage to control it. The challenge lies in when something is beyond your eyes and beyond your premise, and that is a point which Mr. Mahesh, or like Professor Mahesh also cited, that automakers don't make cars, they assemble cars. So parts are being made by supplier tier 1, tier 2 parts, which are like far beyond the vicinity what is happening into their premises. And I remember in year 2011 when like tsunami struck Japan, Toyota was helpless. So they have to shut down their plants. Despite of being the best into the automotive segment, they have to shut down their plants because the reliability of supply chain was not that high. All their suppliers tier 1, tier 2 were being closed. And like beyond that, when they again came back into the revival mode, they have brought up a plan called Toyota Rescue System, wherein they integrated both on upfront their supplier level, their stock levels were being integrated, and like they had a visibility what is happening into their supplier level. So that kind of technology shift, what they have brought in to beat any of this unpredictable scenarios coming in. And like going forward, we'll see a couple of more scenarios, and like it is something that can, so it's a dynamic environment altogether. So we cannot say that things would be static. So everything has to be very dynamic there. The way I see is to have a very strong control on the data points on real-time basis, and that becomes a need for Industry 4.0 to like come in, pitch in, and to help the industries to use not only the OEMs but a tier 1, tier 2. So the challenge with tier 1, tier 2 right now is that, so if you see primarily tier 2, they are primarily being owned by sole proprietors, and for them the main interest to see that the business remains afloat. And if you see, majority of the time they spend only on shop floor to see whether things are working or not, whether the machine is working or not, like because they have been chased by the OEMs to supply. Now just imagine that if they get a visibility of what is happening into their shop floor level onto the data points, primarily be it a mobile asset or some kind of alerts, so they can use this vital time to grow their business. But that will only happen if they have some kind of digital connectivity within their shop floor. And so this brings me the point of attention that tier 1 and tier 2, if you want to grow up the entire supply chain from Industry 4.0 connected supply chain point of view, tier 1, tier 2 has to play a very important role, but with riding factors wherein the cost of affordability of Industry 4.0 has to be very low for them. If at all we talk of a platform approach for a tier 1 which costs them a bomb, so they will never get into it. The only way which I see is that there has to be an affordable platform for them wherein they get a visibility to start with what is happening. And once they see the value being given to a customer, then they can scale it up to like next level. So generally, it's like when we talk of the maturity level of Industry 4.0, the way I put it in a simpler form is that everyone wants to know what is happening into their business. So when I say what is happening on the shop floor. Once they have a visibility what is happening, they would like to know why it is happening. So that's the second level. That what is about to happen now. And like once that is being answered using machine learning, predictive maintenance, they will ask about that, what can I do about it? So these are the only 4 stages which everyone will talk about. What is happening, why it is happening, what is about to happen, and what can I do about it? If we are able to answer these 4 stages with a very low cost platform solution, be it a point solution or a platform solution, we have done majority of our job to digitize the entire supply chain. And the idea is that if we bring in transparency starting from an OEM to L1 to L2, so they know that what is the demand, what is the current stock level, so they keep on replenishing it based on the inputs being given to them on real-time basis. So this becomes a very important aspect of connected digital supply chain, that not only OEMs, the MSMEs have to play a very important role, and like make them happen this, we have to like give them a platform like which is affordable to them. And so like with that thought process, we have been engaged internally, not only on the OEM side, but also on the sides with them, what best in terms of making them self-sustained when it comes to industry. So everyone talk about industry, but when it comes to application, people talk about payback. They want to talk about ROI. And like to me, the way I take up this question is that, so if you'll see, everyone talks about smartphones, smart mobile, smart watches. By wearing a smart watch, people will not become smart unless and until the data point that is being given by a smart watch, I'm able to react onto those data points. If I give you a visibility to an OEM that these are like this is the OE of your machine, based on that input, if I don't react, then there is no payback. So I have to react onto those data points onto the real-time basis, then only the payback will come in. And like just wondering and like just wishing that I will have a connected machine setup will give me ROI will not happen. So people will have to react. This becomes only a stepping stone for everyone to get data on real-time basis.
Great. I love the simplicity of your view, Kushal. And I think there's two things that you said there that really kind of rung with me. One is that automotive manufacturers don't make cars; they just assemble them. I love that. So I'm going to use that again. And yeah, wearing a smartwatch doesn't make you smart. So yeah, that's brilliant. And I saw smiles from all the panel on that comment. So we've got literally 5 minutes left. If I can go around each of you in turn, just for your, a couple of sentences just on the importance of an innovation, a collaboration, and a learning, a shared learning between UK and India, which is what this whole session is. If I can go to Vikas first, please.
The collaboration, we've been doing it for what, 16, 17 years now. within our own company. This is a huge opportunity, and if we talked about, I use the word transparency, but it is not necessarily the transparency, but it's more trust. That if you build the trust in your partners, then together all the collaborators can do wonders. So that trust factor has to come in collaboration, and whether somebody is utilizing their capacity of producing high quality goods, or someone producing or utilizing their capabilities to write very complex algorithms. We make a complex algorithm marry with a very complexly manufactured piece of kit that becomes a system, and a system which people are after. People are not after a software. People are not after a piece of hardware. People are after devices which they can use and which can make their difference to their lives. Yeah. The collaboration across UK and India, or within India or UK, I think we think on that. That is where I think for, limitless opportunities, if we talk about that between UK and India, to do on that. So
thank you, Vikas. Same question to Mukesh, please.
Collaboration between India and UK are happening. It's old traditions already. Various funding agencies are there. Good examples are there. In this particular area, I think one thing that area is very important is looking at collaboration on regulatory requirement, standardization and compatibility, supply chain observatory, upskilling workers. And the area that I particularly also see, which is we haven't talked about, Toyota also got affected recently, and their plants also shut down recently because of cyber attack. So digital supply chain has everything, but it has an inherent risk of cyber risk. So one of the area of collaboration would be in the cyber risk area, which will affect future supply chains.
Yeah, great. No, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that was missing from the whole conversation. So thank you, Mukesh. Thanks. George?
Yes, Nicole.
Any last words? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any last words on the collaboration between India and...
you know, one of the prime motivators for change is economics, demand-driven. So both the large companies in India or UK to adopt a vendor development program that incorporates upgradation of capability of their ancillary units to Industry 4.0 is a very healthy way of bringing about change in a quick manner. Big companies are today adopting this, just like what we did for ERP some time back when they got their ancillary units onto their ERP systems. So I trust that would be the way, you know, by which we can augment whatever efforts are already going on ground. Thank you.
Great, thanks, George. And Kushal, I think you said a lot in your first speech, and it was super clear in my mind. But have you got any last comments before we go into the Q&A?
So as I said, everyone talks about Industry 4.0, but the way I see, every one of us is into that learning curve, and the stage that we have hit right now is only the digital assets, connected assets. But Industry 4.0 is far beyond the connected assets, and there is a lot of potential that we can unlock. And the only way which I see is that there have been research being done across the world, and if we don't collaborate, we'll keep on doing individually in isolation, and there's something which is already being developed, we'll keep on spending our efforts there. So the way I look could be a game changer, like would be a collaborative approach wherein we work together with industry experts, academic experts, to see what is already being developed, and then see that how do we fit it into industrial use. So as I said, it's a learning curve for every one of us. So like every day for us would be a new day, and like we'll keep on challenging the existing status quo to see that how we can fit into this big jargon of Industry 4.0, and there would be Industry 5, like it's like 5.0 coming in, Society 5.0 coming in. It has to be It has to be a milestone-based approach, and there has to be a journey for this. It cannot be a point solution.
Great. No, thank you. And I'm not sure I can provide any better words to round up this session. Just to say thank you so much for your contribution. So Vikas, Mukesh, George, and Kushal, really appreciate it. If you stay online now, I'm going to pass over to Vimal, but I think we've got a Q&A coming up next. So over to you, Vimal.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole, and to your panelists. So with this, we are moving to the next session, which is the Q&A session. So anybody have the question? So please raise your hand. We will come to you, and you can ask to any of the panelists.
Is it just this panel, or is it the panel before as well? We got Q&A.
It is for both panel. Meanwhile, people are sorry, somebody was saying something. So I request, please raise your hand. I will be coming to you with the mic right and on, so we can ask your question directly to the panelist. Meanwhile, one of the participant asked a question that could panelists discuss example of application of machine learning and AI for businesses in collaborative areas, and how to speed up speed the time. So it is open to anybody who like to answer.
So I'll cite an example wherein like we were working with a customer on a predictive part, and like we used machine learning there. So an example to cite was that there was a gear pattern which we needed to check the imprints, primarily the backlash, we say technically, and the cycle time to process the entire cycle was 30 seconds. But so eventually, out of 30 seconds, after 30 seconds, when we used to inspect the part, we used to get a lot of failure parts. So the thought was that if initially, based on some patterns with respect to engagement, if we can predict whether this part will fail or not, and there is where we use machine learning. We use the assisted machine learning there, wherein the initial 5 seconds of the cycle, so we operated using vision cognites. We took a lot of images, and then we start correlating those images with the defect pattern. And like there was some trend that we were able to pick it out that in the initial 5 seconds, if we are able to get some predefined patterns, the part will for sure get rejected. So based on the thought process, we have optimized the system there, that irrespective of you being processing the part, if you stop the cycle within 5 seconds, you save 25 seconds in the end. So that was something wherein we use machine learning using cognites and vision, primarily assisted machine learning, to give the insights to the customer that this operation failed.
Good, got it. Thanks. So hope that participant got the answer. And I come to the one more question. This is the last question. So this the Indian startup has developed a blockchain-based prototype for connected supply chain that addresses and solve all issues highlighted by Professor Mukesh. How can my startup company collaborate to take the solution to market with the UKRI help? This question is guided to Nicole. So Nicole, would you like to talk about this?
Sorry, I wasn't listening properly. Can you just say that question again? So
one of the question we got for you, that one of the Indian startup is working on blockchain-based prototype for connected supply chain, which Professor Mukesh has talked about. So yeah, the startup is asking that how we can collaborate to take the solution to UK market with the help of UKRI.
Okay. So one of my colleagues, Chetan, has put in a link into the chat about the digital supply chain, the connected digital supply chain innovation project that's happening, that's just being launched now. I would also say that put into the chat a couple of times a link for our newsletter. So when funding comes out and there's an opportunity to link and find funding that way. We have got an international program running, so there's potentially some funding there. I'm more than happy to chat to this company directly and see how we can help, for sure. But blockchain is, it was Mukesh that brought up the issue about security, and blockchain is a big part enabler in that picture. Yeah.
So thank you, Nicole, and hope the participant got the answer. With this, we like to move to the next session, and the next session is on the India internationalization opportunity for UK advanced manufacturing high growth companies. We are having the presentation by Ms. Chiara Fitzgerald, Head of Innovation and Business Advice, Innovate UK Edge. So, Chiara, handing over to you.
Yeah, morning everyone. Thank you so much, Mel. So if possible, I'm just going to, I can share my screen. I have some slides, if that's okay. And I just put it on.
Yes.
You can see that. Yeah, okay. So as Mel said, I'm Ciara Fitzgerald and I'm Head of Innovation and Business Advice based in London, working with Innovate UK Edge. So we support a little bit about Innovate UK Edge. We support, we're part of the UK Innovation Agency, supporting high growth businesses based in the UK. It's a publicly funded service available to all high potential small to medium businesses. It's bespoke support where it's provided through innovation and growth specialists in the regions across the UK. And really the aim is to help identify the most effective strategy to accelerate the business's growth, help them gain access to resources, to deliver from investor networks to IP expertise and international partnerships. And international partnerships is what I'm going to speak about now over the next few moments. So Innovate UK Edge, we really support innovative UK companies to grow through global collaboration. And it's a key part of the innovation strategy. So one area that we work on is helping enter new markets. And we help businesses to make connections to partners, leverage insights to expand into international markets to grow and scale. We do this through specific kind of offers, programs, which are really designed to help companies build, help UK companies build business relationships with international partners. And we do this through our Global Business Innovation Program. And this particular program is where it's a competitive offer where we take company up to 15 high growth businesses are selected through a application process, and then they're offered they're on a program which is up to kind of a 12-month offer, but the initial program itself is all about helping you explore and exploit collaboration, growth and innovation opportunities that exist in a specific market around a specific theme. So for instance, like agri-tech to AI across different global markets. It entails 3 stages. So we help companies, UK companies, to prepare for market. We bring them to the market, we visit the market, and we help them with exploiting the opportunities. Exactly what the program offers, as I said, it's all around accessing global innovation, collaboration and partnership opportunities through a comprehensive program up to 12 months. You're being part of a cohort of selected UK businesses, so you benefit from each other's experiences and contacts. You receive that one-to-one bespoke support from an innovation and growth specialist to help you kind of maximize the opportunity. You obtain detailed market knowledge, introductions and cultural insights. And also we assist in helping UK businesses in finding partners and arranging meetings in market. As an example of how some of the UK companies have benefited from some of these global business innovation programs. So, for instance, a fashion tech startup gained insight into the scale of their addressable market overseas. AI health tech company found new leadership team and board members. A construction software tech company found business partners for joint product development and collaborative pilots projects in market. So we have a particular program, Global Business Innovation Program, around advanced manufacturing, which will this may be of interest to those on the call here today. The focus industries and sectors that we are looking for companies to apply in these areas. So around digital design for sustainable product development, industrial digital technologies for process efficiency and productivity optimization, predictive maintenance, artificial intelligence and data technology, robotics and automation, industrial Internet of Things and connectivity, augmented reality and VR. So these are kind of the wide area sector focus really of the companies that we would be looking for to apply for this particular GBEP. The details around the Global Business Innovation Program are that it's going to be a multi-city visit to India. The applications will close in July, early July. Those companies who attend, it is mandatory to join all elements. So there is a pre-visit workshop in August. The visit itself will go to India in September, and then there's an exploitation workshop in December. And the type of business, so of the UK business innovation-led company looking to internationalize, you must have fewer than 500 employees and be able to attend, as I said, all elements of the activities in person. The cost associated to the business is that this particular initiative, it's Innovate UK and Innovate UK Edge, will fund and organise flights, accommodation and any conference fees for successful applicants. We also pay for reasonable adjustments throughout the initiative. So one representative from each company will be funded. On acceptance, there is a commitment fee of £500 from each delegate, but this will be refunded on completion of all activities. So really, you know, the overall cost of an individual GBEP, could it be anything from, you know, £5,000 to £7,000 per delegate, which is fully funded. Now, at this moment in time, this GBEP is not live, but we are accepting expressions of interest. The link is on this slide. So the team today have the slide. So if you were happy to share the link for the expression of interest form, if anyone wishes to submit an EOI at this point in time, and then we can update you once it's live. We are hoping that this particular GBEP will go live in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Also, if there are many other global business innovation programs which are currently live at this moment in time across different sectors and different markets. So this is the link to the Innovate UK Edge website, which shows the detailed breakdown and where you can apply to each of one of those individual GBEPs. So that is kind of my brief overview on the initiative of the Global Business Innovation Programs that is on offer for UK companies interested to go to India on the Advanced Manufacturing GBEP. So if Vimal, if it's okay, if anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer them now, if that's okay.
Yeah, thank you, Jera. Your presentation is really useful. I hope that good UK and Indian company can get an opportunity to work whatever we have talked since morning or till noon. And this is the one of the example how this kind of innovation insights study can lead into the program, which we have also recommended a similar kind of system, and found through the some chat as well as in our report. With this, I like to move to the last session, that is the closing remark. and inviting Dr. Geraldine to give a closing remark and way forward.
Hello, can you hear me? Is that okay? Yes. Hi, everyone. My closure remark are going to be very simple. It was I want to say a big thank you to all the panelists, to all the presenters. Give us a lot to think, and I learned a lot for sure. I did really like the comment as well on the smartwatch not making you smarter, but I think a lot of people think that way too anyway. I've put the link for the registration that Chiara mentioned in her slide. It is in the chat, so please don't hesitate to have a look. If you have any question, don't hesitate to contact my colleague Nicole or Krunal or myself. We will be more than happy to guide you through your process. It's been a lot of questions as well on what is next. We have a lot of initiative in mind. They need to be confirmed. The best way to be aware of what is happening is actually to join the newsletter that Nicole also put the link into the chat box. So we will be, please watch this place. I hope you find it as interested as I did, and wish you a lovely afternoon and lovely evening for India. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye to all.
Bye-bye, everyone.